I've been waiting forever for these and they did not disappoint. So way back in January of this year during Paris Fashion Week, there was one shoe that made more noise than any other, and that was the Junya Watanabe New Balance collab. Was it a sneaker or a loafer or both? Either way, we had never seen a New Balance shoe like that before, and I made a mental note that I would be purchasing that shoe whenever it drops, no matter what. Well, we are almost at the end of 2024 now and we finally have them. Was it worth the wait? Let's talk about it. In this video, I will be reviewing the New Balance 1906L collab with Junya Watanabe. Very quickly, if this is your first time on the channel, my name is Josh. I do mainly sneaker reviews and other types of sneaker content, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if that's what you're looking for, and also give me a follow on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, posting content on there daily on my stories, so check it out. So these pairs were unfortunately quite difficult to get. They released at very few retailers and they sold out almost instantly. Most stores barely even got one full size run, and for my female audience there watching this video, I don't even think they made the shoe smaller than a men's size 7. At least I haven't seen any pairs out there. They released originally at Japanese retailers only on October the 18th. I was actually in Japan when they dropped and I tried to go to every one of these retailers trying to find these shoes, but they were sold out instantly everywhere. I wasn't able to get them. I managed to get these after I got back home, and a local retailer here in Berlin had a pretty late drop for these, so that's how I was able to get both of these pairs. The retail price was very, very high. I paid 280 euros for these. It is a Junya Watanabe collab after all, and to be honest, I'm not mad at it. I'm very happy with how these turned out. When I first saw these at Paris Fashion Week, I thought it was going to be a one-off thing. I was really not expecting New Balance to go all in on this model and produce many different colorways in general release versions. There's actually going to be quite a few on the way, and in the month of December we're expected to see the release of the mesh black version and also this magnet colorway, which in my opinion is pretty fire. It has a suede upper combined with the mesh. I hope you guys already watched my review of the gray pair that I dropped last month. If you did, you would know I'm just a very huge fan of what New Balance did with this shoe. We have seen this year the fashion community move away from sneakers towards other types of footwear, and this was basically New Balance's response to that. I thought it was really innovative, and for me it was exactly the type of shoe that I needed. I do personally enjoy keeping up with fashion trends, but this was one trend that I wasn't really willing to get behind just because I do love sneakers so much, and I find all other types of footwear just very uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. But this shoe, particularly this leather version, I think is just the perfect shoe for today's trends. We have seen some other brands make their version of this sneaker crossover, this formal sneaker before. We've seen Vans do it, we've seen Puma. Nike also tried to do it with those Cole Haan pairs, but I would argue that in all of those cases, to me, those shoes look like they tried to put a formal shoe on the top while just putting a sneaker midsole at the bottom. These pairs, however, are just very different to me. This is a fully integrated sneaker loafer. It's a very cohesive shoe. I mean, just have a look at the upper of this shoe. All of that paneling you see along the toe area, along the mudguard, also the synthetic leather paneling on the midfoot area. All of that is directly taken from a New Balance 1906R. It should be quite familiar to you. And of course, it goes without saying that TPU cage at the back with the New Balance logo, that is also directly from the 1906R. Pretty much the only other panel they've added here on the upper is this additional leather panel, which is obviously mimicking a penny loafer. And the leather used on this pair, the leather used on the upper, I would say it does feel like some pretty standard leather, like nothing too exceptional. But personally, I do prefer how much better this shoe looks with this leather material rather than mesh. The purpose of this shoe for me is to be able to wear it with some more smart casual type of outfits. I feel like the mesh versions of this shoe still look a bit too much like a sneaker to me, so it's still leaning much more on the casual side than the smart casual, which is what I think this shoe achieves pretty well. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about that? And for those of you who have managed to get pairs of the 1906L, tag me in your fit pics on Instagram. really want to see how you guys are styling this shoe. These came with the standard Junya Watanabe blue labels that you normally get whenever you buy any one of their clothes, which I thought was really cool. Although the box was a bit disappointing, it's your standard New Balance gray box. And pretty much the only bit of branding you get on this shoe is on the tongue label, where it's done really neatly. Well, actually, there's also a bit of branding on the insole. Of the two of these, I definitely like this black one better. I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this one, and of course, they won't get dirty as easily. I have a good feeling in 2025, this is probably gonna be one of my most worn pairs of shoes. And the white ones, yeah, these you have to see in hand to really appreciate them. These go super hard as well. There's actually a tiny bit of contrast between the leather and then the synthetic leather panels. The panels seem to be done in like an off-white color, whereas the leather on the toe box is done in more of a pure white. These white ones look really, really good as well. Although I would say the leather pair that I'm the most excited about is the upcoming Joe Fresh Goods collab. We don't know when that's going to be dropping, but he did post this on his stories, and that ox blood pair, that looks crazy. I hope the retail is not too high on those. Now let's talk about sizing. Sizing on this particular pair definitely surprised me a little bit, because I wore the gray pair, and in the video I did last month, I did say that I found those to be really, really tight and that you absolutely needed to go a half size up in them. With these ones, I don't really feel that way. So I got this in my true size, which is a US 11, and I would say the shoes are very sock dependent. If you wear some thin socks, they actually fit perfectly. There's even a tiny bit of heel slippage, but it's pretty minimal, I think. When I tried wearing them with some thicker socks, then yeah, it did feel a bit restrictive. But about the toe area, I know in the mesh pair that I wore earlier, it felt like my toes were gonna go right through the mesh of the shoe. That's how tight they felt, but these don't feel like that. I've worn these now even outside the house, and maybe they just stretched out pretty well after one use, but yeah, these don't fit tight to me compared to the mesh ones. So I would say if your true size in New Balance is like a full size, like a US 10 or an 11, then just stick with that in this pair. But if your true size is a half size, like a 9.5 or a 10.5, then I would go up a half size to the closest size available. I wouldn't go down half a size. I mean, it's not like these are roomy in the toe area. They're still pretty restrictive. I've spoken also earlier about just how comfortable these are. I love the New Balance 2002R and the 1906R mainly because of this midsole, this energy midsole. I can walk all day in them, and it's just really nice to have like a more dressier option for days that you know you're going to be walking quite a lot. Until this pair came along, I definitely didn't have any of those kind of shoes in my collection. I'm super happy with these guys, and for those of you who have been following me for a long time, I hope you don't unfollow me when I say this. For me, this one is the shoe of the year. I think it's the most innovative. I think it looks amazing. I think it's a beautifully executed concept. When I do my sneaker of the year video, which I will be dropping next month, of course, I will not be including this pair on that list because it is not a sneaker. Like, let's be honest. If I had to choose between calling this a loafer or a sneaker, I think it's closer to a loafer. So for that reason, this is not going in my sneaker of the year countdown, but if it was eligible for that list, this would be a #1 for me. Of course, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your opinion in the comments. What do you guys think about this pair? I know for a lot of you guys, especially you sneakerheads out there, you might think this is maybe one of the ugliest shoes you've ever seen, and I totally get that. I love them. Good job, New Balance. I think you guys definitely knocked it out of the park with these. Once again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and following me on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for supporting my channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.